For A2, I chose Arcade Fire as my band and focused on my favourite album of theirs, Funeral. I chose this particular album as it invokes such a strong sense of nostalgia within me, and I was interested in exploring how I could represent these feelings and depict them in an image. When thinking about the record cover, I actually like the current cover of Funeral. However, I don't really see the connection to the music or the connection to the rest of the band's aesthetic. Later album covers such as Neon Bible, The Suburbs and Everything Now successfully capture what I believe to be the spirit of Arcade Fire. The Suburbs depicts a retro photograph of suburban America, while Everything Now captures the gaping wide orchestral sound and feeling of their music. For my version of Funeral's cover, I wanted to follow the path of these more mature covers, as well as capture some of my visual memories of listening to the album. I created a mind map of all the key words that the album evoked, plus some of their lyrics. Key themes that emerged were youth rebellion, adolescence, suburbia, nostalgia, and lights. Using these words, I searched for inspirational images on Pinterest and created a number of mood boards, choosing from each mood board key images to use as an inspiration for some concepts. I quickly sketched up some concepts in Procreate with the key themes in mind. Throughout their music, there are references to lights, and in their recent covers, they feature neon lighting. To continue this theme, most of the concepts I created focused on a dark scene lit up with a neon light source. Once I had created some quick concepts, I decided to flesh some out in more detail. Concept number 1 was created by focusing on the numerous mentions of eyes in the lyrics within the album. I took a close-up photo of an eye and manipulated it in Procreate to create an image that looked a little like an offset screen print. I really liked the simplicity and visual impact of concept number 1, but I was also a little concerned the later Arcade Fire album featured a close-up eyeball and decided to dismiss this concept as it was lacking originality or a point of difference. For concept number 2, I was interested in pursuing some illustrated visuals for the album art, especially line art. I really liked the way the dark tones and shadows conveyed a quiet suburban street scene, with the Arcade Fire text illuminating the trees and rooftops. The dark windows give an eerie quality to the image, with one room in a house lit up, which I intended to represent the kids in a rumpus room planning their rebellion. I used complementary colours with the dark blue and yellow illumination. Concept number 3 was inspired by a number of visuals I'd seen on Pinterest with white line art. I was also inspired by album art from a band called Desaparecidos, who also focus on suburban themes within their music. Their album, Read Music Speak Spanish, features a number of houses repeated, and a remastered version of their album inverts the image into a blueprint-style visual. To begin with, I played around with my line drawings, inverting the line and adding a blue background to mimic a blueprint. I also decided to add some depth to the scene with mountains in the background, since Arcade Fire is Canadian. I then decided to place the iterations into a record cover mock-up to see which ones worked in the context of a record cover. To my disappointment, concept number 2 came across really badly in the mock-ups. The colour and illustration felt flat. There wasn't enough contrast between the colours and the black line. My aim of creating a dark scene unfortunately meant that it came across as dull and flat. Concept number 3, however, came to life as a record cover. The colour and textures meant it had a much more visual appeal in the mock-up. Although concept number 3 seemed to be the clear winner, I decided to see if I could fix the issues with concept number 2. I experimented changing colours for the foreground and background for a long time. I looked back on my theme boards for inspiration and came across an image of a dark night scene lit up with a red light. I decided to try a version of concept number 2 with red neon light highlights for high contrast and interest, and was quite happy with how it was turning out. I then fleshed out this version with some additional illustration for the back of the album cover, plus some extra lighting effects to add more dimension to the image. I was really happy with the new direction I took with concept number 2 and decided that these would be the final images. I took them into InDesign and Photoshop and added text for the album cover.